Hello, my name is Allison Duffy. Are you exhausted, working with limited resources, overworked? Well, here is a new perspective for you. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about how to start a new perspective utilizing a source called the Pink Book. Working longer does not necessarily mean working more effectively. Proper health communication can have a dramatic effect on your target audience. So, why should you change communication strategies? Well, here below we have a list showing how communication can change those strategies. What you'll need to do first is make the audience aware of the problem that has arisen. Address healthy skills that are available. Show the benefit of the behavior change. So in this instance, we're specifically talking about a health behavior change. It can increase the demand for health services as well. You'll want to clarify any health misconceptions with the public. Also, positively influence the social norms of health beliefs. Promotional communication can be presented in both a verbal and a physical manner. So what we're talking about here with promotional communication are examples such as salesmen, military recruiters, health education instructors. You can also see it in an advertising pitch or even in commercials. Now, even though commercials are something that you view, it's not something physical that you can read. It's more presented to you by someone like a salesman. That's kind of in contradiction to physical promotions that you see. And those are the typical billboards, flyers, ads, and product placements. By utilizing effective communication, it can be very beneficial for a corporation. It can effectively influence others if utilized properly, and it can bring knowledge to a desired topic. However, there are some things that communication cannot do. It cannot compensate for inadequate health care or access to health care services. It cannot bring continuous change in the health of an individual without the support of a larger program for change. So that's basically saying you can't advocate just for one singular cause and then do nothing about it. They're going to have to do something further to create a larger, more permanent change. Communication cannot equally affect all topics. So you don't want to be too broad in addressing the topics. That's also applicable towards behavior change. And complex audiences may have preconceptions about a subject. In order for it to be completely effective on a controversial topic. With effective communication strategies and your planning, you can form the foundation of your entire health program. So, why is planning important in communication? We've already discussed before how communication is extremely important in advertising, both physical and verbal. To understand the health issue you're addressing, you need to plan. To determine appropriate roles for health communication, you need to plan. To identify the approaches necessary to bring about desired changes, you need to plan. To establish a logical program development process, you need to plan. Planning helps you set priorities, assess the progress, and avert disasters, i.e., unnecessary overworking. So keep in mind planning terms. Communication plus planning will equal your goal. However, you must remember to be realistic and be reasonable when planning your communication strategy. To reiterate, strategic planning will help you avoid disasters. So no matter how hard you work, if you do not have a vivid vision of said goal, you cannot hope to be successful. So what we have down here is a visual representation of your planning steps from start to finish. Now let's go to the bottom of this pyramid, down at number 1. First, you'll want to assess the health issue or problem and identify all components of the possible solution. Then you'll want to define communication objectives, followed by defining and learning about the intended audience. After which, you'll explore settings, channels, and activities best suited to reach the intended audience. Then you'll identify potential partners and develop partnering goals. Finally, you'll develop a communication strategy for each intended audience. And this needs to be geared toward a more broad audience, but in a narrow category. Before you communicate your ideas, stop and think. Does your communication strategy have or can it acquire the necessary expertise and resources? Does a communication strategy have the necessary authority or mandate? Will the communication strategy be duplicating the efforts of others? How much time does a target audience have to address the issue? What, if anything, can be accomplished by the health communication strategy in that time? Reflecting on these questions will help you think if you're ready and prepared to present your communication strategy to the public. Lastly, remember, take breaks when needed to keep from being overworked. Don't overthink your audience. Be inclusive, but not exclusive. Stay within your monetary plans and stick to the planned strategy. Violating terms could result in the loss of ownership and control of the program. To wrap up the program, here are the citation sources I used. Now to reiterate, I used the Pink Book, and the link is listed below.